General Hospital. The shadows close in, Anna's disappearance, Britt's reappearance, and the WSB's hidden war **** as the week of August 4th to 8th unfolds in General Hospital. The tension in Port Charles escalates to an almost unbearable degree. Beneath the surface of familiar locations like the Metro Court, the docks, and WSB headquarters, an invisible web of secrets and betrayals has begun to tighten around key figures like Anna, Jason, Jocelyn, and Britt. What starts as a confrontation over a young woman's dangerous new allegiance unravels into a full-blown crisis, one that pulls together the remnants of past lies and freshly ignited conspiracies, culminating in a chilling abduction, a long-lost figure's whispered warning, and the eerie silence that follows when a trusted ally vanishes without a trace. Anna had long suspected that something was off about the WSB's recent maneuverings, but nothing prepared her for the bombshell that Jocelyn, bright, determined, fiercely loyal Jocelyn, had been pulled into the shadows of the very organization that once shaped Anna's own destiny. That confrontation began not as a whisper of concern but as a storm of fury. Anna, standing in Jack Brennan's office, didn't mince words. The air was thick with tension, the ghost of their shared past lingering in every corner of the room. She warned him with a fire in her voice that Carly would not take kindly to the discovery that her daughter had been recruited into a covert world that devoured innocence for utility. It wasn't just a personal betrayal, it was a declaration of war. Meanwhile, in another wing of WSB operations, Jocelyn's expression told a story of its own. She stared at the envelope Brennan handed her as if it contained her own undoing. Her youthful ambition had been twisted into something cold, calculating, and dangerous. Somewhere between the mission briefings and covert operations, Jocelyn had lost sight of who she was supposed to be, and now she stood on the precipice of losing everything she had left. The envelope was not just a directive. It was a weight she could no longer carry. Far from the politics of the agency, Jason sat poolside at the Metro Court, the reflection of rippling water masking the reflection of doubt in his eyes. Britt. That name, that memory, that presence haunted him still. Sonny leaned in to listen, but Jason was elsewhere, in the past, in the echo of moments stolen, in the belief that Britt had not died but had simply disappeared into a silence no one dared to question. That silence was breaking now. Anna had approached him, her voice low but urgent. She needed him to find Britt. Not later. Now. Something in her tone unsettled him, not just fear, but finality. She knew something, but whether she would get the chance to tell him the rest was uncertain. At the same time, Britt herself resurfaced, not in Port Charles, but in a stark, sterile room at a secluded resort known only to those who never intended to be found. Room 5 at the Poppies Resort was her prison, though there were no bars. Her voice trembled as she whispered into the phone that there was a big problem. She was being watched. She knew someone had followed her. And worse, someone she had once loved might be closer than she dared believe. Whoever held her now wasn't just keeping her from returning, they were keeping her from interfering. But the most jarring moment of the week didn't come from a conversation or a revelation. It came from the docks, bathed in moonlight and silence, where Anna, once a warrior of impossible resolve, was caught unaware. The figure moved swiftly, efficiently, a ghost in black. A bag was pulled over Anna's head. Her scream tore through the night, but no one came. There was no time. She was taken. Just like that. Was it revenge for her outburst against Brennan? A warning to Jason? Or was it something darker, older, buried in the long-forgotten files of the WSB, now crawling its way back into relevance? As Anna vanished into the night, the remaining pieces of the puzzle began to slide out of reach. Jocelyn, left with the task she neither fully understood nor wanted, was a ticking time bomb of guilt and confusion. Her mother remained in the dark, but not for long. Carly's instinct, sharp as ever, had already begun to twitch. She knew something was wrong. She didn't yet know her daughter was part of a dangerous covert operation, or that the man she once trusted with her family's protection had sanctioned that betrayal. Back in Port Charles, Jason faced the unbearable task of uncovering a truth that no one wanted to admit. If Britt was alive, why had she stayed away for so long? Who was holding her? And why now, after all this time, was she suddenly reaching out, only to vanish again? The stakes, however, were not limited to personal reunions or family heartbreak. The WSB's real interest lay not in Jocelyn, nor in Britt, nor even in Anna. Their eyes remained fixed on a darker prize, Henry Hank Dalton's laboratory research, long buried, recently rediscovered, and capable of unspooling the very fabric of global intelligence if placed in the wrong hands. The agency's mission to retrieve that data had turned into something far more vicious than diplomacy. It had become a covert war. As the week pressed on, silence became the loudest scream. Anna's absence grew more alarming with each passing hour. Jason tried to stay calm, but his contacts offered no leads. Sonny began leaning on old allies, trying to unearth something, anything, that could explain what had happened. Jocelyn grew more reclusive, burying herself in her training, hoping the weight of her choices would vanish if she just kept moving forward. But guilt is a ghost that does not let go, and hers was only just beginning to haunt her. At the core of the chaos was Brennan, who smiled too easily and spoke too softly, a man who carried power like a blade hidden beneath velvet. His actions had not gone unnoticed. If the plan was to create confusion, to shatter alliances and destabilize the protectors of Port Charles, then it was working. But the problem with orchestrating chaos is that eventually, it spirals out of control. And Brennan's grip, however tight, would soon begin to slip. What he didn't anticipate was that Anna had left a trail. Not one easily seen, but one that Jason would eventually find. And Britt, for all her fear, had made contact. That whisper on the phone wasn't just a cry for help, it was a clue, an opening. And Jason, driven by equal parts vengeance and love, was going to take it. The week of August 4th to 8th marked not only a return to classic General Hospital espionage but also a sobering reminder that nothing stays buried forever. The past always returns, sometimes in the form of a lost love's voice over a hidden phone line, other times in the echo of footsteps approaching from behind in the dead of night. By the time the week ends, Port Charles will be changed. Whether Anna is returned alive, whether Britt makes it home, whether Carly forgives Jocelyn, and whether Jason survives the storm he's about to walk into, none of that is certain. But one thing is, the game has changed. And no one is safe.